Hi, Fiona. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. We're so aligned with our passion for helping moms thrive in motherhood and business. Can you give us an idea of like where that passion to help women and moms thrive came from?
Yeah, of course. So when I'll start from the very beginning. When I was a child, people always used to ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I always wanted to be a mum. Like I couldn't ever think of a job I wanted to do specifically. I didn't successfully go to university. I worked loads of different jobs from when I was when I left school until I had my children. I think it was something ridiculous, like 15 jobs in 9 years or something like that. I never settled on anything because I was always waiting for the moment when I would become a parent. And then when I had my eldest daughter, like probably what happens to a lot of mums, it just was not what I expected it to be. And I obviously expected that this would be my fulfillment in life and my children would be everything and it would fill my cup to the top. And it just didn't work like that. And so I kind of found myself in a position where although I really love my children, we've chosen to home ed our children, like I want to be with them all the time. I still needed something more for me. I still needed something that was specifically mine and that felt like I was in control of, because although you like to think you're in control of your children, you really are. And there was a point in my life when I just felt so stuck in like kind of feeling like surely this isn't all it could be. Like this can't be it. Like do is this just what it's going to be like for the rest of their childhood? Then they're going to leave and then I'm going to be lost. So I was just felt really stuck in the day to day, stuck in the drudgery, shall we say, of just day to day life of children and everything like that. And when I managed to get myself out of that, and when I managed to like kind of imagine the life I wanted and then start working towards that life, I realize they're just in my own friendship group, and I know there's so many other people out there. I see it in Facebook groups, I see it in online, like people who feel that way and just don't know how to get out of it. They can't see a way out. So that is really where my passion comes from, is having lived it and felt all those feelings and sort of desperately wanting to help other people not be stuck where I was.
Yeah, I can really relate to that, not only in motherhood, but the sort of opportunities that I was waiting for other people to give me and not creating my own opportunities. So, what was the turning point for you where you decided, okay, I'm going to go forward in this direction where I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to be a coach, I'm going to claim something for myself.
I think, like what you were just saying there, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for so long for someone to just give me the life I wanted, someone to just hand me on a plate what it was I wanted. And it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. And I was getting really cross about that. And eventually I just got so cross with myself for being so helpless that
Hmm.
I just was like, nah, like I give up on waiting. Like I'm gonna have to make some action. Yeah, so I just got sick of waiting of myself waiting to take the action,
Mhm.
and um and I just had to get on with it because I was if I didn't I was going to drive myself absolutely crazy,
Yeah.
and I was never going to get what I wanted. Essentially, I was just going to be dreaming about the life I wanted forever instead of actually working towards it.
Right. So, what are some of those first few actions that you took to start your business or shift your mindset or really start to claim that new life for yourself?
Yeah, I think well, the first thing that had to come first was the mindset shift. There was no way I was taking any action until my mindset changed. And like I said, I got sick of myself, which always makes me move when I get annoyed with myself. But also like with children around all day, I was kind of in the mindset that I didn't have time to run a business. I didn't have time to do this. I didn't have time to do that because no matter what I did, my days filled up. Like there was no way to make free time. So
Hmm.
I kind of had to switch my mindset from I don't have any time to, well, where can I find the time? And like I'm talking like a few minutes here, a few minutes there, just enough to like do something, even if it was something really tiny, just enough to move forward that little bit, that little bit, that little bit, that little bit, and eventually it kind of all builds itself. It builds its own momentum and snowballs into something bigger. But yeah, those first actions were very small. Those first actions were very tentative. They were very much like these mindset shifts were all going on at the same time as me just like doing a little bit more, doing a little bit more. And I had to get sort of really, there's two things. I had to get really comfortable with things not being perfect because I like things to be perfect. I like things to be in order, but if I was going to get anywhere, I had to be messy. It wasn't going to be a
Hmm.
comfortable thing. And then, yeah, comfortable is the next thing. So I had to get used to feeling uncomfortable because things like social media, they weren't natural to me. I didn't have social media for a long time. And when I started having to put myself out there and show up, that was something that was really hard for me and really uncomfortable for me. So I had to do a lot of um, work on feeling uncomfortable and doing the things that I want to do anyway. And now, when I feel uncomfortable, I know that that means it's something I need to do because if I'm feeling uncomfortable about it, that means I am. It's I feel like if I feel uncomfortable about it, that's something that's going to move me forward. Because when I feel comfortable about it, I'm stuck in my comfort zone and nothing moves. I just stay stagnant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So a lot of shifts towards not feeling great, but feeling great at the same time because you're moving forward.
right. There are so many mindset shifts that have to happen in order for someone to go from, a life that we're kind of conditioned to think that we want or will lead to the results that we want. But then we also, once we work on that, we also have to put together a solid business strategy, right?
Yep.
And so, what does an aligned strategy look like to you when you're helping moms build their ideal business that works for their life? And when I talk about this with guests, I also like to get your idea of what aligned means because I think so many people say aligned, 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 and nobody really stops to think about what that really means for them.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm aligned for me and for what I try to emulate with my clients is that the business that you're setting up has to work perfectly and specifically for you and your family. So it doesn't matter what this guru over here is saying or what this guru over here is saying, if that or even what I'm saying, if that doesn't fit specifically into their life, if that doesn't work specifically for them. And I spent a lot of time honing my own strategies and my own business to a place where I could run it in alongside my life. And that's really important to me for my clients that they have the same thing because that's the whole point. The whole point is being able to set up their business without having to rely on childcare or a 9 to 5 routine, which makes the business really unique because you don't have these long periods of time where you can work uninterrupted while children are at school or nursery because your children are with you all the time. And so it means for me and for them, it means building a really specific strategy that can be broken down into really tiny spaces of time and then can be slotted in throughout your day at various times. And I use various practical tools and stuff to obviously work with that. Um, but yeah, having a strategy that you can and a business model, of course, that you can leverage your time with is super important when you don't really have any time.
Yeah, right. It is, and it's gonna constantly change. I mean, if people think that, oh, my kids are young, and as they get older, you might have some longer periods of more time, but like I have a daughter who's graduating from high school, and there's so much happening. There's such a varied schedule, and this and that, and you know, there are times I feel like I have as little time as when she was a toddler. And so I reassess my time quarterly. Like, what is happening? What needs my demands? And so, even once you find that aligned kind of business, it still may change. We're constantly having to reassess what's working for us.
Absolutely. I personally reassess almost on a weekly basis just because of how movable our life is at the moment. And even on a nightly basis, I'll write down what I've been doing that day and what needs my attention first the next day, what needs my priority first the next day, because without that planning, it's so hard to fit things in when you know you don't have that much time. If you don't know specifically what you need to go to next, you'll spend all your time thinking, oh, but I could do that. Oh, but I need to do that one first. Oh, but I need to do that one first. So the fact, even just taking 5 to 10 minutes the night before to think about what you need to do and in what order can be so useful. It's not the word I was going for, but it's the word that came out.
Well, you mentioned a to-do list, and I think that so often we can get caught up in this trap of serving our to-do list and not actually growing our business and constantly being in this state of exhaustion. So how can we shift from that and actually start working on those tasks that grow our business?
Yeah, so like I was for like what I do in the evening, not only doing the to-do list, but prioritizing it. It's very important for me and for other stay-at-home mums who are with their children all day that the priority list starts with the thing that is going to move your business forward the most. So, and I find myself caught in this trap all the time when I'm doing things and I'm doing work, but it's essentially just busy work because none of it is actually going to propel me forward in any specific way. And it's often when I'm procrastinating, I'll do the jobs that I know I'm not going to do, or I'm trying to stop doing something I don't really want to do. But I always make sure that the things that I put on the top of the priority list are the things that are going to move things forward. So, for example, like stories on social media, selling on stories on social media, like that's the sort of thing that's going to bring you in clients. Whereas, I don't have an example in my head straight away. Writing a masterclass that's going to happen in a month's time. That's not going to move your business forward. That can be done closer to the time of the masterclass. It doesn't have to be done right then that month when there's other more important things that can be done at the time. So, yeah, certainly prioritizing and making sure that the jobs you're doing them with intention. You're doing them with an outcome in mind.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for listeners on how to find that clarity on what it is that needs their focus and attention? Because sometimes I find when I work with clients that they don't always have that clarity. They're just in a state of overwhelm.
Yeah, yeah. So if in regards to a state of overwhelm and finding the clarity out, if you're in a state of overwhelm, there's not very much that you can do to get out of it that's going to get you out of it fast. And anything you do is just kind of going to be like scrapped together as much as you can. And then it's not really going to be doing what you want it to do. So my advice to people when they're in overwhelm is to take some time. Now, if you've got it, a full day is ideal. If you don't have it, a couple of hours, or depending on what situation you're in, you can just a period of time when you're not actually doing anything that needs to be done on your list. But what you are doing is every time something pops into your head that you're thinking about, every little task, every little thing that pops into your head, you write it down, write it down. And at the end of that, you will find yourself with a very large to-do list, which will also seem very overwhelming. However, that's when the next steps come into play. And the first one of those steps is to have a look at the to-do list. And the first thing you could do is pick the task. This is just to get you started. Pick the task that you feel most uncomfortable doing. If you feel like you're in a position and you're feeling brave, do the thing you feel most uncomfortable doing. If you're not in a position and you don't feel brave, do the task that feels the easiest. Just do the one thing that's going to take it off your list really super quickly. So either the most uncomfortable or the easiest thing. Or if you're feeling like you do have the bandwidth to sort of sit down and filter through all the tasks, you can pick out the things that you feel are a priority. So if you're overwhelmed, for example, because you've got too many inquiries coming in and you can't keep up with them, then the task you might pick out to do is sort through those inquiries and figure out which ones need your attention the quickest. Like perhaps some of them are new inquiries and they need touch base with. Perhaps some of them are current clients that you know can wait maybe a few hours for a response, and kind of work through your to-do list that way, figuring out which parts of it um, are going to make it easier for you to move forward, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. I feel like I'm babbling a bit, but
No, no,
but
it
yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
all of these ways are kind of a good way to kick start you back into working through the to-do list. So on the first day, for example, on the first day, first hour, first day, whatever you're taking time on that list, you can do maybe two tasks. On the next day, you can maybe do three and just build yourself back up. Because sometimes when you're in a state of overwhelm, it doesn't help to go diving back in instantly. And
Mm,
sometimes just taking the time to take it slowly is actually more useful, even though you're doing less stuff, because it just brings you back to a place of equilibrium and calm rather than chaos and just desperately trying to grasp anything to keep yourself going.
right. And then, what usually happens too is you have this sense of accomplishment that kind of builds as well, which kind of gives
Absolutely.
you some momentum to keep going, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I always say that little tasks, lots of little
Yeah.
tasks all at one will like they'll grow and grow and grow, just like a snowball going down the hill.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned that you homeschool your children, and so you're navigating entrepreneurship, motherhood, and homeschooling. And, those are two very full-time roles. How do you create flow between teaching and business and also taking care of yourself in the meantime?
So this is a question I get asked quite a lot. In terms of teaching, we don't actually do any specific sit down workbook style teaching. My children are 6 and 3, so they're quite young, and we tend to do a more sort of casual play-based approach, as in we just kind of live. And this is where I struggle to answer this question actually, because our home ed and my business and my self-care, as we could call it, they all kind of blend into one. And because I don't have specific time away from the children where I can say this is business time, this is time for me, and they
Mhm.
do kind of all blend into one. So self-care, for example, might not look like me having an evening to myself with a nice meal and a bath or whatever. It might look like all of us going out into the woods for a walk or all of us going to the beach for the day,
Mhm.
because I find that when we go to those places, they leave me alone because they go and climb trees or they go and play in the sand. And I do get alone time, even though I'm not strictly alone.
Mhm.
And then the same with kind of business tasks. In my to-do list, I actually split the to-do list into two columns. So I have one to-do list that has tasks that take less than 10 minutes and one column that has tasks that take more than 10 minutes. So that
Mhm.
when we're just doing stuff during the day or we're in the house and they're busy playing and they're occupied with each other, I can just jump to my to-do list and take something off the smaller side. And I know it's going to take me not very long and I know I'm going to get it done before they interrupt me. And then I save the longer tasks for later on, say when they're asleep or if they're with my mum for an hour or something, I might do them then.
Mhm.
So it's it's hard to distinguish between them all because it's
Yeah.
less of a balance and more of a everything is squashed together. And yeah, some
Yeah.
days it's awful and some days I don't get anything done that I want to get done, and then other days is amazing and I get loads of
Right.
things done and I think, wow, my life is so great, my children are so wonderful, they let me get on with things. But yeah, it's very up and down, but it works, if that makes
Right.
sense.
It does. And I love that you mentioned that there isn't like this strict designated time. Okay, it's business time. Oh, it's teaching time or school time. And honestly, I think there are few, if any, moms who have the ability to do that. And I really think that that's helpful for moms who are starting or growing a business who have that idea of like, oh, everything's got to be perfectly compartmentalized and time blocked and all of those things. And really, our ability as moms to be pragmatic and assist and do things with our child or children during the day on many different levels and many different ways is actually really helpful when it comes to business. Like when we just go with the flow, when we learn
Yeah.
how to, not try to control everything so much. So I think that that's really great. And I love your strategy of having a to-do list that has shorter time things. That's awesome. and then things are going to take more time. I think that's a really great tip. Also, I know a lot of moms get into entrepreneurship because they do also want to homeschool their children. But one of the things is, you're already struggling with your identity as a mom, like being able to, who am I as this mom who's taking care of these children? Like you already feel like you're losing part of yourself. But how is also homeschooling shifted your identity and how you see yourself?
Yeah, strangely, watching your children, it's interesting because when I watch them and I watch how they learn and what they do and what they pick up on their own, it not only does it give me a sense of fulfillment as a mum, but they teach me a lot too. Like my children are literally not afraid to, like, they will be themselves no matter what. There's no mask that they carry. I mean, all children are the same, really. The children don't carry a mask. Children don't try and put on any airs and graces. They don't try to be somebody they're not. They're just literally wired to be themselves.
Hmm.
So watching them build their own like identities and their own personalities
Hmm.
almost reminds me of my own
Yeah.
identity and personality. And not just reminds me, it just prompts me not to lose it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Now, at the beginning, obviously, I felt like I lost everything and I was just this shell of a cow that was feeding this baby that wouldn't leave me alone. But like over time, when you watch them growing, like I feel like they remind me that I mean, they take away my identity, but they also give me an identity. Like I don't recognize who I was before I had children. I'm
Hmm.
definitely not the same person I was before I had children, but I have grown not just like with the children and with the business. I have
Hmm.
grown into someone I probably, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I would not recognize myself now at all. Like
Yeah.
I've changed a lot. Um,
In good ways, I imagine.
yeah, oh,
Mhm.
100%. Like my confidence is like way, way higher than ever. I could never have imagined myself doing a podcast interview with someone 5 years ago. I'd have been like, me? No, that's ridiculous. I would never do that. But like even just like my children are so confident, like they're happy to just go and do anything. They'll talk to anyone. And like I honestly they teach me more, I think, than I teach them, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like they're like little teachers, little reflectors.
Hmm. No, I that's a beautiful story and reminder. I absolutely agree that we kind of get into this hierarchy as parents and don't realize all that we do have to learn from our children, and kind of shed some of that conditioning that has separated us from our true self. I mean, I definitely can relate to that a lot. So, what would you say to somebody who's listening and they just feel like their business goals need to wait until the children are older and life gets quieter? Because you're in the
Hmm.
thick of it. So, I think you have a lot to say about not waiting for that.
100%. The first thing I'd say is life is not going to get quieter. Like
Yeah,
regardless, I like you just said, like your daughter is much older and your life is no quieter. If anything, you feel like it's almost as busy as it was now.
right.
Like there is no better time than the present. There will never be a right time. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be this big sign that tells you now is the time to start your business. It's just you have to make the choice. I heard someone say recently that ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. So
Mhm.
ready isn't something that you're going to feel in your body. You're never going to feel ready. You have to decide that you're ready to do it. You have to decide that you're ready to take the first step and you just have to go for it.
Mm,
And if it goes wrong, you can pick yourself up and try again. Like you're never going to be any worse position than you are now. So you
yeah.
might as well give it a go.
Right. Yeah, I had a guest last week who said something like, if if you feel like the time is perfect to start, you've waited too long.
Yeah.
And that's so true. It's like, and it's like, had I waited till like at least one of my children was 18, I would have missed 4 seasons of conversations just like this one. And that just makes me so sad to think, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, Yeah. So if you're on the fence, if you think that their life is going to get quieter, it doesn't.
No,
So we're on the bookends of
you just got to do it. You just got to get it
right.
done.
As cliche as that sounds, it's just there's no other way to put it. You work with women who feel stuck and unseen. And what's one thing that you wish that they could instantly know about themselves that maybe you wish you would have heard that could potentially make that light bulb go off for them?
Yeah, I think I would want to say to them, I do say to them, that they already have everything they need. Like they don't need anything. Like they've got knowledge that people want to know about. They've got experience. They've got ideas, and their ideas, all of their ideas actually are good. There is no bad idea.
Right.
It's just they just need to hone it and focus it and bring it in and use it to start a business and start making money. And yeah, I want them to know they've already got it. Everything they've got what within them what they need. It's just about tapping into it. It's about seeing it because a lot of the time people can't see. I couldn't see my own strengths almost. Like I couldn't see
Right.
where I could add value. And a lot of people can't see that. And if I could just take the veil away from their eyes and let them see what they have, let them see where they have the time, let them see where they have the experience, let them see what they can offer other people. Oh my God, that would be so good.
Yeah. And I think that that's what is at the heart of having somebody like us, right? Is to help you see further than you can see or see what you can't see. And that's the beautiful thing of doing the work that we do. Um, so one of the last questions that I wanted to ask you was, if there is a mom entrepreneur out there that's feeling overwhelmed by their dual roles, let's say they know that they know what their strengths are, they know what they want to do, but they feel really overwhelmed by motherhood and entrepreneurship at the same time, what would you say to them?
I would say to them to first of all take a step back from the entrepreneurship, motherhood part and just think about what you want, like ideally what you want your life to look like.
Mm,
So the much bigger picture, like what do you want to be doing with your days? What do you want to be doing with your holidays? Do you want to travel lots? Do you want to travel a little bit? Have you like what ideally does your life look like? What would you want to be doing? Where would you want to be shopping? And build a picture in your mind of what it is that you actually want, the reason that you're building your business, the reason that you're parenting your children in the way you're parenting them or the way that you're raising them. Like what are you trying to achieve? What's your end goal? And think about that and picture it and write it down if you want to. Writing it down can always help. And bring everything back to that end goal. Like, are the things you're doing, number one, filling you with joy, and number two, getting you closer to the life you want? Because if the things you're doing aren't getting you any closer to the life that you want in the end, don't do them. If you don't enjoy them, don't. I mean, some things you have to do that you don't enjoy to get to the life you want in the end. But in general, if you're
mhm.
not enjoying it, there's no point in doing it because you're not going to be happy. And the whole reason that most of us start our businesses and why we have children around is because we want a different life for our children. We want a different life for ourselves, for our families. And it really does pay to keep that in mind because if you lose sight of that, you can find yourself going off in all sorts of different directions. You can feel the overwhelm coming in and you can't see clearly to the path that's going to take you to the life that you want. So I
Yeah.
would say step back, bigger picture, deep
Mhm.
breath, carry on.
I think you're so right about that because so often we're serving this idea that we think we're supposed to, this role we're supposed to play, or a business that is supposed to look a certain way, or we're supposed to be certain people, or a family's supposed to be a certain way. And really, it's so individual, right? It comes down to that business owner, that mom deciding what she wants. And so often, as women and moms, we're not asked that. So it feels so foreign to be given the freedom to create that life that you want. And so yeah, it's a huge thing for people to like realize that that is essentially what they need to do.
Yeah.
And it feels really big, but I think that that's really what helps you move forward
Yeah.
with your focus and direction. I've loved this conversation, Fiona. I love what you're doing. I'm so glad you were a guest on the podcast. Can you share with listeners where they can connect with you and your resources?
Yeah, of course. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and most of my links I will post on Instagram and Facebook. I have a free resource, which is 5 steps to building a family-friendly online business. So that is available too, and I'm sure you can pop the link in
I
somewhere.
love, yeah, yeah, I will do that. It sounds like a great resource because, that's the whole point. Like you mentioned, it's like that's what we're here to do is not just to start a business, but to start one that works for us and works for our family so we can try to find harmony between the two. And so, yeah, I love that. And I'll leave, yeah, like I said, I'll leave all those links. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks.